Kyle Thiermann here. I'm in Cape Town.
I was the only journalist in northern Nigeria.
Not an adventure until you get lost in Tijuana.
If you get caught inside by a giant wave, you feel really alone.
I love the adventure of waking up and not knowing what will happen and that being my job.
Kyle Thiermann Show!
That was pretty good.
Here I am to save the day with an NA.
Amy Baldwin.
That's me.
It's so good to see you, my friend.
I know. I'm back.
I know. This is the thing about these podcasts just turn into catching up with old friends. So.
Yeah, like what we talked on the phone the other day, and we're like, maybe we should just save it for the pod.
Yeah, we're burning good firewood
I know.
here.
Don't want to waste it.
Yeah. Well, this morning, I'm going to read you my journal entry.
All right.
Because I was thinking we're going to do a pod this evening, and here's the thought.
I'm excited for this.
Sex is like dancing. Most of us learn a few awkward moves in high school, then repeat those same awkward moves for the next 50 years or so until one day we get a cramp in our hamstring and we hobble away muttering, "I'm too old for this shit."
Or until you listen to Shameless Sex before you're that old.
Well, I was thinking, I think that there's some truth to this idea that many of us have our first sexual encounters in high school.
Yeah.
And then we pretend like there's no improvement to be done from that. And we have the same like words and moves, and both men and women are so proud and they're so afraid of having their egos being hurt that it hobbles the learning process along the way.
Yeah. You get in your own way, but it's beyond you getting in the way. It's like there's a bigger system or of some sort that everyone else is experiencing, or a lot of people are experiencing, that is in the way of you being like, wait, there could be more.
Mm-hmm. And this, and I think dancing is sort of similar, just there's less shame. There's a little less shame attached to it.
Yeah.
But still we're doing like the moonwalk that we learned in sophomore year.
You know the moonwalk?
I do know the moonwalk.
What?
Yeah. I learned
Okay,
the moonwalk.
well, you must be really good in bed, just saying.
A couple breakdancing moves. But I want to get better at dancing.
Yeah.
We all want to get better at dancing.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is about.
But dancing is not something that most people have in their everyday lives, or and even if people aren't having sex all the time, it's a little more of a significant staple in your life or in a lot of people's lives. And dancing is like, it's the fun thing you do on the occasion, right? It's like a fun bonus. And for some people, sure, it's like something they do all the time. Maybe you wake up and you have your ecstatic dance practice. Good for you. But sex is like, it's really very much intertwined with being in relationships, being romantic, being a lover, being a human over 18, and sometimes way, way, way below 18. And that's where the first experiences come from. And yeah, and hence why I have a job, because it's not being taught.
Dance instructor.
Yeah, I'm a dance instructor.
Yeah.
You should see me dance.
Yes. Yeah. And it's going very well for you. I mean, since we first met, you released your book.
Yep.
So exciting.
Thank you.
You're on 400 and something episodes on the pod.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's just screaming.
Yeah.
And are you just excited as ever? How's it feel?
I am. I am right now in this day in 2025, very excited, and I think with you, because you've read a book, so you will soon discover, or maybe it will not be this for you, but the process of writing a book, and then for us, a year of traveling, promoting, giving our all to grow that was beautiful and a lot, and we just came out of that in early November 2024, and that was such a relief. And so we needed we is so my podcast Shameless Sex, the book Shameless Sex. We is myself and April Lampert, who I have the podcast with. If you're new, and so we needed a couple months to chill, and then coming into 2025, we have so many ideas and things happening on the horizon that we're super excited about, and it's different. You know, it's similar, same theme, sex, relationships, but a different twist. So yeah, super excited about it.
Do you feel exhausted? On the phone the other day, you're like, did you use the word nesting, or am I?
Nesting was not the word.
Okay.
I said hibernating.
Hibernating.
Yeah, it's
And
close. It's close enough.
Yeah. It was some animal form of
like a bear, but
sedentary.
lady bear.
Yeah, you're a lady bear.
Yeah, I'm a lady bear. Yeah,
a lady bear in a nest.
Yeah, hibernating. But I do that. I'm realizing now, or I'm finally admitting to myself, I couldn't do that every winter. I want to be less social. I want to just tend to myself, and so that's just kind of natural for me. But yes, the hibernating also, like the hibernating on steroids, it was very much about coming out of this multiple year. I mean, 2 years of writing the book and 1 year of deep promotion, and then many years of the podcast. But the podcast in itself is not exhausting. It was the book piece that was the most beautiful, exhausting, draining, rewarding project that I think I've ever taken on in the business world.
Sure. Well, good for you for figuring that out. I feel like so much of the first 30-something years of our lives are just about figuring out what we like. Yeah. And then the rest is about trying to engineer a life to accompany what we've finally figured out that we like. Yeah. So realizing like, wintertime might be a little bit slower. Yeah. And I like that.
Thank
and that's
goodness.
where a lot of good ideas can come from, is important.
Yeah. And it's recharging, right? Yeah. And coming out of that, April and I are just, there's so many moving parts that we are, just super amped about. We're creating retreats for couples, individuals, just all women, all the different variations for the last year or so. And that's really exciting. Our last retreat that we just did in November of 2024 in Costa Rica was a couples retreat. We had a couple come, and they didn't tell us in the beginning, but at the end of it is 5 days in paradise. And at the end, when they were sharing, they were like, we were going to get divorced before this. And we now remember why we got married in the first place. And they had been married for 20 years and had 5 kids.
Damn.
Yeah, we were
talk
like,
about a Yelp review.
Yeah, hit me up on Yelp.
I went into this Indian restaurant, and we were gonna get divorced before we came in, but the food was so fucking good that naan reminded us why we were in love in the first place.
Good naan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just another one of the many constant reminders. Yeah. We get that a lot. I don't know if you do. You probably do, right? We get that a lot because it's
your podcast saved my marriage when you were talking about that left barrel, and the guest is just talking about getting spit out of it. I was like, man,
I want to be my wife forever.
I should not divorce her.
If only it was that easy.
Yeah. No, that's usually what causes the divorce. Is they forget the anniversary for the screaming
and you
left
get it
barrel.
from the wife, and she's like, that barrel, it's your fault. Now we're divorced.
There is a bumper sticker that is quite popular that is, it's not that funny, but it's popular, which is I had to choose between surfing and my girl. I'm sure gonna miss her.
Oh, those guys need me in their life.
I
Good
know.
thing you're listening if you're that guy.
Well, yeah, I think that there's it's really easy to build grand narratives around what we need to do to be happy. Yeah. And it's like, I need to travel around the world and quit my job and only wear Tevas for the next 2 years in order to be happy. It's like, or you could just take a weekend car camping trip, and that might do it.
Yeah, go out like backpacking in the woods by yourself.
Yeah.
Just get scared shitless. See what happens after that. Well, and also that's the example that probably wasn't true, like the email of someone saying it was barrels or the wife. And now, or the bumper sticker. That's an example though of like common relationships or like modern day relationships. It's like, it's black or white. It's me or this, And I've probably said this on your show many times. I encourage people to look beyond option A and B. There's like often a C, D, E, F, all the way to a Z, and they might not all apply to you, but you can look at that.
LGBT.
Right? Like, yeah, A, B, C, D, LGBTQIA plus. Hey, but there's other options.
Sure.
And they might not work. They might not fix everything. They might not heal your marriage. But if someone's like, you choose your passion, which might be the ocean, or you choose this relationship, that's a bit of a red flag in my world, because it's like, choose to lose yourself. Now, if you're going to choose, like, you can choose heroin or the relationship, that's a little different. But like it's unfortunate that a lot of people feel like they have to choose to lose themselves to keep love.
Yeah. And how much is it how much do you find, what do you think it was about this couple that then made them decide to stay together after this retreat?
We asked them when they were like, so, we came in here, we didn't tell anyone, we were on the verge of divorce. This was our last hurrah to see if there was a chance. And we didn't know this in the beginning. So we're witnessing them for 5 days. The first couple of days, they seemed somewhat disconnected, right? We're doing workshops all in a circle that are like very PG-13. It's not like everyone get naked and diddle yourselves. Not like that. And every day you could see them get closer and closer, arms around each other, holding hands, rubbing each other's shoulders, putting their heads on the other person's shoulders, giving each other kisses. And so when they shared that at the end, we were like, what? And also, can you explain what do you think it was? And they said 2 key things. What do you think it is? Kyle. Chris.
Kyle Thiermann.
Yeah,
it was Kyle and Thiermann. Yeah. It was Amy and April. Those are the 2 things.
Well, probably, but also we had other educators.
Yeah. Small acts of physical touch.
Helpful. Yes. Not exactly correct,
Okay,
but I like it. I'll give you one more.
Okay. Eye contact.
That's good too.
Okay.
It's communication and curiosity.
Okay.
So communication, when they said that was one of them, we're like, in our world, like, surprise, surprise, because that's usually the answer to every single sex question we get, and we get hundreds upon hundreds.
Yep.
Even if you're like, I want to find the right sex toy, but I don't know if my partner likes sex toys. I mean, obviously communication is a part of that. But so they learned how to communicate with each other in a way that felt safe, connected, easy, gentle, and sexy too at times, and not like exhausting work all the time. And curiosity is, they've been together for 20 years, but people, even after 1 year in a relationship, they stop, or sometimes, not always, they often stop considering, who is my partner today? Because it's like, well, I know you. I know what you do. I know you're like, you wake up this time, you do this thing. When you twitch like this, it means this. And so these were really key things for them to start. And I guess they were having private conversations in their room at the retreat that were opening up these doors for more communication and more curiosity, which led to more sex. Yep. Surprise.
Yeah. You just articulated something that I've thought for a long time, which is, I think questions are inherently erotic. I've always felt like there's something,
unless you're like, how was your poop this morning?
Hey, depending on what you're into. No, but I think that really is it, right? Is there's this ability to continue to discover something is tied to eroticism.
100%.
And when we lose interest in other people, it's often because we have this idea that we figured them out and we see everything that there is to see, and we're no longer interested in that thing. So we want to go after something novel and new. And the best relationships are ones where your partner sees this future version of who you can be and is supporting that future version in the way that they're talking to you. And you're communicating with each other. It's not this like, yeah, but you used to do that thing, so I'm gonna.
So now you always do.
Well,
that.
yeah, I'm gonna cast this spell of this past reality of this person that you once were, which is then gonna make me act in accordance with that person that I once was, and then be over this relationship, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just so common to get into this past reality form of speaking to each other. So the idea that curiosity is a common denominator of good relationships is something that I totally subscribe to.
And that's not, I wouldn't give Esther Perel credit for that one. She's, if you don't know who she is, look her up. She's endless TED Talks, multiple books. She's amazing. One of my, it's uncomfortably straight. There's a new term for it. It's not painfully straight.
The most masturbated to TED Talk of all time, probably.
She's talking about cheating and affairs. So
funny.
hot. But she's not praising them though. But anyways, she brings the conversation of curiosity into light as it being a really important piece of being connected with your partner. And it's not just related to cheating and affairs, right? It's not like, oh well, my partner wasn't curious about me, so I started having sex with a neighbor. It's like people want, generally speaking, especially their closest humans to be curious about them, to have interest in their inner landscape. And sometimes you don't want them to, right? Like you're like, I don't want you to ask me about this thing because I don't even want to talk about that. I don't want you to see that. So it's not about every aspect of your life, but your romantic partner who, when you come home, not just like, how was your day, but how was your day? Fine. And then they say your partner's...
How was your poop?
Yeah. So the answer is say, how was your poop?
Yeah.
Well, so they say how their day was. And I'm not inviting people to get in their heads about like, what's the next perfect question? But like, get really curious about whatever their response is. And then also look at their body language and, their energy. There's so many pieces that contribute to people being different humans in each moment. And not everyone wants you to like prod into that. Like, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling now? And it feels really nice to be seen as, at least I think, or for myself, it feels really nice for me to be seen as I transition through life. If someone just assumes that I am Amy, who is the Amy when I was 25, I'm like, you don't understand me.
Why do you think I moved away?
I know. That's why Kyle left Santa Cruz. Kyle, I always understood you. Yeah. I was always here for you.
I'm always watching you as a verb, bro.
You're always an action man.
But seriously, I think that it's important for some people and sometimes to move away, move into different circles so that you can become this new person.
Yeah.
So on the retreat, how are you inducing curiosity? What was it that you were doing that led to these insights from this would-be divorcee?
We set up the workshop. So we have workshops throughout the day, and this particular retreat was in beautiful Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica, and it was there during a full rainstorm with no sun. And we're like, shit, what do we do about this? There's no sun. It's still 80 degrees. It's beautiful. The ocean's right there. Ocean sometimes was warmer than outside if it was raining, and so we already had a whole schedule of workshops, and I'll explain a little more about that. But what we did was we added more workshops to deal with the fact that the sun wasn't out.
Right. So wait, where was this? Sorry.
Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Right on the beach. We do like all-inclusive luxury retreats.
Dope.
Yes. So you come there. When you come there, you don't really think about a thing. And anyways, so the way we do workshops in terms of like it being multiple days, and this is how I've always done workshops, like day longs or half days, is you always start with the individual. You don't go right into the couple or like what it is to be matched with other people sexually, or it's always starting with you, right? So what do you want? How do you ask for what you want? How do you know what you want? So there's different layers of how to play with that. We always have a sponsor. This year was Magic Wand, the fucking best sex toy sponsor ever. So everyone has magic wands, and they sent one of their lead educators there.
So you show up and it's like a Hogwarts thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is your wand,
Exactly,
Harry.
yeah. So you're like, bippity boppity boo.
Slytherin.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you're flying away. Yeah. And you're playing, what is the game?
Quidditch.
Yeah, Quidditch.
Yeah.
And so that's our new term for sex is Quidditch.
Yeah.
So
Let's go
everyone
play
starts
some
having
Quidditch.
Quidditch on
Yeah.
night one.
Bring your broomstick.
So yeah, we start with just the individuals, even if you're with a partner.
You know about the broomsticks, though, right?
Wait,
Why witches fly on broomsticks?
I don't know if I know.
You don't know this?
Do
oh my
I know?
gosh.
Tell
Okay.
me.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
So, in the olden days, witches would brew Amanita muscaria, which is a psychedelic, in a cauldron with broomsticks, and then shove it up the hooch for psychedelic trips.
Oh, so you don't get poisoned.
So you don't get poisoned.
You get high, but
Yeah.
not poisoned.
Yes. Wait, no, it might not be Amanita muscaria. It may be ergot. It was ergot, which is
like
an
compost.
active ingredient in lysergic acid dithylamide, LSD.
Yeah, LSD is based on ergot, or is
Yes.
it inspired by,
Yep.
I guess.
So
right?
that's why witches ride broomsticks.
Oh,
Yep.
dang. So you would stir it in and then you put it inside of yourself.
Yeah,
but
and you trip
wouldn't-
out.
You trip out.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well,
Which is probably why you'd see someone flying away on the thing and run back and say, we need to burn them.
yeah, you'd be like, whoa. So
Yeah.
my side note theory on witches and witch trials is because they were having multiple orgasms and it looked too fucking crazy and people couldn't handle it. So they're like, oh my God, gotta burn them at the stake. Because they're like, like it must be Satan. It has to be Satan.
All witches do have a weirdly high-pitched squeal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But multi-orgasmic women scared the shit out of people.
The multi-orgasmic witch.
Yeah. All witches are multi-orgasmic.
God.
You started it. This is your fault.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so retreats. So it's layered on, and then it starts to go deeper. Like each day, deeper. Not again PG-13. Everyone not talking about like deep anal, but like the layers of going deeper into yourself and your lovership, right? And so there'll be workshops like how to worship and pamper your partner, dirty talk, things like that. Even like a kink 101 class, and people can choose which ones they want to go to. Sometimes you'd be like, that couple's not here, and then you'd hear them having sex in their room, and we're like, we nailed it, it's working. Yeah. And it's also very much designed for creating a mini community, because a lot of people feel like they don't have humans in their life that they can talk about sex. So
Sure.
we hire a gourmet chef, so we're all having dinner together, and there's people that don't normally talk openly to strangers about sex, and so we'll have little prompts like, tell us about your worst sexual experience in high school. And night one, people are like, oh, I don't know if I have anything to say. Night five, like, oh my God, let me tell you all of these things.
I.e., they're not all from California.
No, well, this last one, we had some lovely Canadians. We had some East Coasters that were actually in their late 60s.
Cool.
We had some Californians. We have us. We've had some humans from Oklahoma, and like all over the country. And no Europeans yet, though. Waiting for that one. Bring me some Europeans.
So is it only couples?
This last one was, but the other two were just for all women.
All right.
And our next one is all genders. But we're not using the term all genders because it freaks people out. So we're saying for everyone, whether you're couples or individuals, whether single or not. And it will be in California, only for 3 nights. It's in Indio.
Cool.
So we are doing that Mother's Day weekend. So early
And where can
May.
people sign up for this stuff?
Go to shamelesssex.com.
Cool.
You can find it.
All right.
And yeah, it's a fun exploration. And maybe you can come back and be like, I'm not getting divorced, even though I'm not married.
If I was married, I wouldn't be getting divorced.
If I was married, I totally wouldn't get divorced.
So let's talk about the strategy to do autonomous workshops before coupled workshops.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Well, so you are your own sexual being, and so everything essentially will always start with you, no matter what you do. And your experience will always start with you, because you're the one, either doing a thing or receiving a thing, but you're there and involved and hopefully fully awake for that. So the work in my opinion, needs to start with yourself and how to figure out how to even be in your own body with your own feelings and sensations and thoughts about what sex means before you bring that to someone else. Ideally, that's how it would have been when we were 13 or whatever age it was when we started engaging with people sexually. But that's not what we are taught. It's not, we live in California, right? We have comprehensive sex education. So you hear a little bit about masturbation, but no one tells you how to do it or what you can do with that. It's just like masturbation is the process when you put your hand on your penis. So sexy. But then what do you do after that? And what do you do when you bring that energy with another human? So that's why we do that, because it's just common sense, Kyle.
Yeah.
But it's not common sense because most people wouldn't think of it that way. We think sex happens with another person or with myself sometimes. I mean, most people think that masturbation is acceptable. And the other person also should figure us out. We should understand them. They should understand us. We shouldn't have to talk about all these things. But you can't talk about all these things with ease with other people if you don't have the ability to look into your own self and what that all means to you. Or you can, but it probably will be quite hard.
Yeah. You've never thought about the fact that you like breakdancing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I like breakdancing.
I want to find a breakdancing partner.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to like breakdance sometime?
Yeah. Let's do the flare together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are you asking questions in those early workshops, kind of trying to pull that kind of, what are some of those questions that you might ask in an early workshop session?
Let's see. So if I think it to the, like, what is it that you want, right? Like, what is it that you want sexually? That's such a like basic, simple question. And when I have new sexual partners and they're like, so tell me what you want. What do you like? I'm like, oh God, like how much time do we have? This is complex. And also I tend to go blank with that. It's like, it's such a big question. So instead of what is it that you want, I probably talked about this in this podcast. We, ask people to question not what is it that I want. It's what is it? How do I want to feel when I'm being sexual? What is the feeling that I would like? Is it I want to feel connected? I want to feel submissive. I want to feel special. I want to feel like I'm the best lover ever. And then from there, I think once you know the feeling, this is not my theory again, everyone. This is from the erotic mind, I think. Jack Morin's work from the 80s, but it's profound.
You're like a human Wikipedia page.
For sex.
Yeah, for sex. Just links below.
Well, I have to give credit to the people, right, that taught me, but not in person. I wish Esther Perel was in person. But so it starts with.
Don't want to fucking Jay Shetty yourself.
No.
Or whatever that dude.
I created this myself.
Yeah.
How do you want to feel when you're being intimate, right? You're touching someone else. Like, what is the feeling you want in your body? And I think that differs for people. And then from there, okay, I want to feel this way. I want to say you want to feel like I'm the best lover ever. I'm the best. So what are some of the actions that can happen, whether it's your partner doing anything or you doing anything, that can give you that feeling? And then you have the like, what do you want stuff that comes after. It's really, it's not that complex, but most people are not invited to check in with how they want to feel. It's more action based as opposed to emotion based. Well,
it means you're getting good at it to be able to explain it that simply.
Good at it. Sorry, I'm drinking my non-alcoholic beer. Athletic Brewing Co. Not sponsored by them. Yes, and also I'm confident in that theory.
Right.
Because I've implemented it in my life so many times and it's been so helpful. And I've helped other people, because I also do sex and relationship coaching, implement it. And I've seen the success with it. And it's not something you need to even like spend money on. It's not like buy the whatever formula. It's just inquiring within yourself.
People complicate to profit.
Yeah.
And those are usually people who have figured out just enough to be persuasive, but haven't delved deeply enough to be able to explain it simply.
Totally. Or they don't want to share the simplicity of it because they want to profit on it.
Right.
And I think that there's like, for me, right, like Shameless Sex is a business. So I want to profit on it in certain ways. And my heart is very much in the human sexuality and relationship world of in like helping people be their best unique selves. And so I will give a bunch of things away for free and find the ways that I can profit. But like ultimately I would rather have people, which is why I'm a terrible capitalist, by the way. I would rather have people have like their best lives as opposed to me make a million, billion, trillion, whatever dollars and them, feel lost. But that's just an Amy bad capitalist.
Just an Amy thing. Yeah, Amy, bad capitalist.
I'm a terrible capitalist.
That's your LinkedIn profile.
It is. Amy, don't hire me, bad capitalist.
Yeah. Hire me. Unless you can't, then I'll just give it to you for free.
Exactly.
Has that always, how long have you felt that? I think that like purpose is a misused word, and we tend to, I think purpose is really dangerous and harmful because people compare their purpose to Gandhi and feel like
purpose.
If they don't have capital B, big purpose that they've defined, then they're lost.
Yeah.
One of my favorite anecdotes about purpose was from Elizabeth Gilbert, the writer. She was talking about this
Big Magic or
Big Magic. She's
Eat, Pray, Love,
written a bunch of books, but she said she was in Santa Monica once, and there was a dude who was a painter up at the top of this ladder painting, and she could tell that it was just rickety. So she stood below him and held the ladder for like 20 minutes, and he didn't know that she was there.
Oh.
And then she walked away and thought, maybe that was my life's purpose.
Yeah.
Like from whatever.
Small moment.
Yeah, that was the only reason I'm here.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
Yeah, totally.
Because you can't argue that wasn't her purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to be able to make purpose a little funny.
Yeah.
And light.
Playful
because then it gets too into the like, this is my purpose. I'm ultra spiritual and i.e. more important than you.
Yeah.
And it just becomes this weird heavy endeavor.
Yeah.
But so I'll like let's rephrase the word purpose for hankering.
All right.
When did you notice that you had a hankering for helping
people
be able to express themselves more fully sexually?
I mean, so beneath that or before that would be my own feeling of feeling really lost and needing support but not knowing where to go or what to do. So many of my first sexual experiences were just like, what is happening? What does this mean? What's going on? And so I think that's what inspired me to get into this. But this is before the purpose, before the like, I want to help people. I want to help people. Let's see, I think it's hard to tell. So I opened up a sex shop when I was like 23, I think, in Santa Cruz. We've since sold it. It was called Pure Pleasure. We still have the website, purepleasureshop.com. See, I'm a good capitalist. And in that, though, so that was still a business, but that was driven to help people. And what I guess that is what showed me. So people come in, they might buy a sex toy, they might not. And we were not like, you have to buy a toy when you're in here. And so they often regarded us as almost their free sex therapist. We were not sex therapists. We were educators.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What's your return policy?
What's
your return policy on
We sold the brick
sex
and mortar,
toys?
so we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, okay.
But the online store is no returns unless it's defective. Call 55555.
Yeah.
Gently used.
It's not like Patagonia's worn wear campaign.
We are not Patagonia.
Yeah,
We're not Patagonia. We're not Prana. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
I
I think through that though, because sometimes it'd be irritating. Like I'm trying to work here, and you are coming in and asking me about herpes. Herpes has nothing to do with the sex shop. We sell condoms and things that.
But Planned Parenthood is 3 blocks that way.
But we had there was some in Santa Cruz. There was some Santa Cruz characters. About this. We had a couple sex shop Santa Cruz characters. They're not people that you know of as the Santa Cruz characters, but they would come in, like once a week and just talk. And while our job, our goal was to sell products and help people in that way. It just felt it would have felt terrible to tell these people. One, I mean, I would tell them like, this is something that's like out of my, this is not my area of expertise. But to tell people that are coming in being so vulnerable, it's so risky to go in, even to a sex shop, talking to a sex educator woman and say, here's my sex problem. And to be met with, I'm not going to help you unless you do this other thing. Fuck that. So and that just, I mean, I could just feel that in my being, that, and even though I was never one of those people, I was never going in sex shops being like, help me, and I don't have that like the past trauma of being rejected in the sex shop, but I just I really commend them, and it's admirable, it's brave, it's scary, not for everyone to do that. So I just really don't want people to feel that, and I can resonate with it, even though my story of why sex was so scary or hard or uninformed is different.
Yeah. Yeah, so
and also I have a heart and I'm compassionate.
You're meeting the need.
Yes.
You're meeting the need.
Yeah,
That's
totally. Cool. And we became known for that. Not like go into Pure Pleasure, talk about herpes. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. But known for, this is a safe place to go, and also we did the sex education classes every week, and safe place to go and learn about sex. Everyone needs that if you're a sexual person, I think.
Right. Well, again, I think that it becomes, it for a lot of people is like dancing, where you danced a little bit in high school, you got into a thing, you stopped really progressing the thing, and it just becomes this ossified, like, chore.
Yeah.
That a lot of people are no longer curious about, and it's so fundamentally tied to the human spirit.
Yep. Totally.
I mean, not for everyone, of course, but for a lot of people.
Most people.
Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook because he got dumped.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to get over that shit.
Yeah,
and he might ruin the world because of it.
Sorry, Mark. There's therapy.
Fuck
there's
that
sex
guy.
Toys. There's Well, don't even get me started about how Meta does not like sex. The C projection about. Anyways.
But
projection.
Here's a thought that I wanted to run by you.
Ooh.
This is part of the morning journal session.
All right.
Yeah, I've stopped. I'm doing a thing right now where I don't prep questions anymore. I just do a journal sesh loosely related to the person.
I like this.
And to see what thoughts I have
Okay.
out of it, and
Cool.
then we go from there. Pleasure's overrated. Anticipation is underrated.
Ooh. All right. Okay.
And here's the reason, because anticipation is an underrated emotion because it engages our imagination.
Yeah.
You have no idea what could happen. Your imagination is so powerful that it just lets it run wild. This could be true of sex. It could be true of a surf trip. It could be true of anything in the future to give lead time. Like, I go on hunting trips with friends and we'll plan it 6 months out in advance. And a huge amount of the joy that I get is just in the text messages that we're going back and forth, knowing that we're going to have sex on that hunting trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deep in the wilderness.
Awesome.
Yeah. Pleasure, on the other hand, takes an immense amount of mindfulness to stay present and not have the mind immediately compare it to other pleasurable experiences, which reduces the joy.
Yeah. I think most people listening to that could relate because the excitement about, here's this thing that we're going to have sex on the hunting trip. It's going to be great. Which also comes with some scaries, right? Like, what's it going to be like? What if it doesn't work out? But like that excitement, that like teasing phase or the desire phase. And then when you get there, it's always different, almost always different than you thought, right? And this is why I'm not going to remember. It's low expectations, high possibilities. This is the Bonobo Network. They're in the Bay Area. They throw sex parties. They designed this phrase. I believe that's how you say that. Is like when I think
You
of
know
that.
that you know that everyone just paused this podcast to write that down in
But
their
no,
notes app. Yeah,
But no, yeah, we have an episode with them, everyone 555. But like, so so the fantasy phase, the fantasy phase of like what it could be is so exciting, and I'm going to be Debbie Downer and say that it can, and when it comes to sex, it can really slip you up if you get set on it being that thing, though. Or people who are online dating, right? You maybe even like did a FaceTime call with the person, but then you meet them in person and it's different than what you thought it was. And so I think that there's a balance between playing into that really sexy, invigorating, exciting phase of like the unknown. And then when you get to what is now becoming the known, not holding it to these standards of what you thought, being open to it. Don't like, you mean the low expectations, high possibilities would suggest like lower those expectations for it to be super fantastic, which I think can be helpful. But like allowing spaciousness, like playing into that before stuff. And you can do that for hours and days. It's yours. It's beautiful fantasy land. And then when you get into the real, the nitty gritty, knowing that it will always be different than what you thought it would be. So you're not like, oh no, this is not meaningful because it's not what I thought it would be.
I think I'm going to open a business across the street from Pure Pleasure called Pure Anticipation.
That's, what do you sell? Just like ticklers, feathers,
just the idea of
they
sex
walk
toys.
In, there's nothing there, and they're like, "What do
Yeah.
you sell?" It's just blank shelves. Like, it's the idea.
Just look at how good it could be. Whatever you saw over there, this is better.
or whatever you're going to do, it's going to be better than this.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah. Pure Anticipation opening fall
and
2025.
that goes with the we're talking about the couple from the retreat with the curiosity and communication. That's a part of that, though. It's not all about when they're actually engaging. It's about what's happening before that they're putting in the time and energy to get curious about, and then communicating from that place. And then when it comes to the pleasure space, it's like you already put so much energy into this other stuff that is feeding that and feeding you.
What are your thoughts on scheduling sex?
I think that it is a very healthy, important thing. If you are in you could maybe with masturbation, some people need to schedule that. But for the most part, it's for couples in long-term relationships. I need to schedule my masturbation sessions. I'm super busy. I have to podcast all the time.
Can you imagine if you accidentally made that Google Calendar public and then it was like 5 minutes before the board meeting?
It's like bait time.
Bait time 5 minutes before the board meeting. John, quick question.
So what's with the bait time
What were
popping
you
up on the
doing? Yeah.
calendar?
John, can you please put your pants
That's
back
why you
on?
put bait instead of masturbate. But anyways, I think scheduling sex can be really important for long-term couples, especially if they have kids and busy lives, or just busy lives and no kids. Or, well, no, what's your other excuse? You're either busy or you have children or you're super stressed.
Right.
But usually when you're super stressed, sex, for some people, it's a good remedy. For a lot of people, can just be like a distraction.
Right.
So I think it's kind of, I don't want to say what I was going to say, so I won't say that. It's designed to be a temporary remedy for your connection with yourself and your partner, but not a permanent thing. It's like the stepping stone or stones to figure out, like, how do we make this, like, get back in this practice.
Sure.
We schedule it every Wednesday at 7. Also, I don't suggest scheduling sex as sex being penetration or genitals. Scheduling sex, I would suggest scheduling just being intimate and see what's available. Like, maybe it's just us laying naked and holding each other, and just seeing what's available for that and see where it goes from there. Otherwise, it's too much pressure.
Right. Yeah, I was makes me think this comic I had on the podcast a few years back named Kurt Braunholer. I hope I'm getting that right. Great comic. Super funny. He was a comedy writer on The Big Sick, which was a really funny movie. But he was talking about improv. And he says, most people think when it comes to creativity, when it comes to improv, like, you're going to think of the thing before you get on stage and it happens. The secret is getting on stage is what makes the thing happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's this, and I think for a lot of people, it's the same with sex.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you gotta make the thing, you gotta get in the thing to get in the mood to do the improv.
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people are just kind of expecting, it's like expecting that you're gonna want to work out all the time.
Yeah.
But people don't tend to think about sex as like
or you're going to want to work out hard, right? So if I'm like, okay, I'm going to the gym every Wednesday at 3, and every Wednesday at 3, I'm going to go on the treadmill for 45 minutes at 6 or 7 or whatever, however you do that, because I don't like the gym. And whatever you do when you do that. And then you arrive on that day and you're super tired and you don't want that treadmill, or you want to just walk on it, or you want to do something else. And it's very similar. It's like you can still be in the gym, but you don't have to do the gym the way you always do it, or you even wanted to or thought you would, because it's what is available for you, especially, and if there's another person involved, and them right now, and not what everyone wanted it to be or what it was yesterday. Too much pressure and that will be really boring. Some people like going to the gym and be on the treadmill every Wednesday out of 6 or 7, right? But like for most people, if you apply that to sex, it'll kill your sex life. Someone will want to stop fucking. I don't know who it is. Maybe both people. Maybe everyone involved.
Right. But then it also then plants a pretty dangerous idea, which is like, oh my gosh, is this relationship over? We don't like our sex anymore.
Our routine sex, right? Yeah, exactly. But that's because it's stuck in this little tiny box, this little category, and it's so broad. This is why I have a whole career around this.
Yeah, thank God.
There's
If it was just penetrative sex, it would have been
missionary penetrative.
Yeah. You only have a 1-year career out of that.
I would have stopped fucking anyone and everyone about a decade ago if that's how it was.
Well, this gets into one of the topics that you texted me, the myth of long sex.
Yeah, like sex for hours upon hours.
Right.
Yes. I love talking about this one because there's so much out there, especially in the Tantra world, right? Like, is it Sting? I think it's Sting. He learned Tantra and he fucks for 8 hours when he has sex. But my guess is he's not just fucking. First of all, there's a lot of other stuff going on that includes snuggling,
playing guitar,
singing with his beautiful voice, probably having a sandwich. I don't know. And so that's one thing, but that's not exactly what I'm the most passionate about talking about with this topic. So I have a lot of people in my life that love long sex sessions, but what does long sex sessions mean to them, right? And they're like, that usually means it's over an hour. I have a lot more people in my life who would say, oh yeah, I love long sex sessions. I was like, well, what's a long sex session to you? And they're like, I don't know, like 45 minutes. It's like, so in your perfect world, how long would your sex session be with someone else? And in people's perfect world, more people of all genders, of all bits, would say under an hour. In fact, on average, everyone, when I say under an hour, I know you're like, oh shit, I don't even have sex for an hour, because most people don't.
Yeah.
I'm saying that under an hour, most people are having sex for a matter of minutes, or under.
Are you talking about penetrative sex or just being together? Eating a sandwich with Sting.
So if you're eating sandwiches, it's probably longer.
While he's playing a guitar to the sandwich.
For most people, their session that involves when we start to touch each other, maybe hopefully kissing, taking clothes off, and start doing whatever else we're doing, and then it's done. It's often under 30 minutes, if not 20 minutes. That's way more common, and there's nothing wrong with that, except for if people are feeling unfulfilled, and unmet. And I think that there's just this myth that everyone wants to fuck for hours, and if you can't handle that, whether it's your cock or your pussy, then there's some that you should strive for this. You should strive to be this person, and I don't think that's true.
Or your core.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or your hips.
Yeah,
my old hips.
Yeah, calf cramp.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's totally DIY, right? It's what feels right or true to you. There's a number of sex educators out there that will say, like, deep down, everyone wants this, like, multiple hour sex session or sessions where you're having orgasm after orgasm, and the men know how to have multiple orgasms without ejaculating, and the women all know how to do that too, except it's easier for them because they can ejaculate an orgasm, blah, blah, blah. And A lot of people don't want that.
Yeah.
They're busy or they just don't want to engage in that way for that long. It's not, doesn't have to be the standard to strive for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've found through your Yelp. I mean, it
My
is
Yelp?
your Yelp reviews. Yeah, I only like sex for 20 minutes. Yeah,
But yeah, rate me on Yelp for that.
yeah. Well, you're getting such a greater sample size of what most people are actually into.
Yeah.
Than 99.9% of people out there.
Yeah.
So I trust you on when you're like, oh yeah, this is a thing that comes up for a lot of people, and these are some myths out in culture that have been fed to us through movies that we gotta talk about and obliterate.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some people, again, if that's your jam, like I have a couple of people in my life, like I like long sex sessions. I always have. That's my thing. That's awesome for them. And those people often actually have a hard time finding partners that can meet that. And then when they do, they're like, oh, it's on. This is amazing.
yeah. It's like the hyper athletic couples. Like we run ultra marathons together
all the time.
Yeah. This is Connie. We start our day with a 10-mile run together.
Yeah, we're so aligned. And also I do think with that note, I think everyone can learn to be whatever they want. If you want to be the penis owner who can fuck for hours and have orgasm after orgasm without ejaculating, you can learn that. You don't have to. Like it's not what makes you the best lover. Plenty of other things. Okay. I have lots of ideas about that, but it's not necessarily that.
Okay. On to the next topic of text. The myth of simultaneous orgasms.
Simultaneous orgasm.
Okay.
What do you think about them? I mean, are you?
I think you should do a MythBusters show. That's
I
what
know.
you should do.
Well,
you should do a MythBusters themed sex show, Amy.
Just that.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, you're walking down an alleyway.
Simultaneous orgasm.
Yeah. And you're walking into this creepy old house, and then it's like this is John, and this is Connie, and this episode is on the myth of the simultaneous orgasm. And it's you and April, and you have like big detective glasses on and trench coats.
We kind of look like we're perverts
Yeah,
watching them.
totally. And you open up and you're both naked, of course. Yeah.
But we're talking about a podcast, though, so YouTube channel.
Yeah.
For the
I don't know. We're just talking ideas here. All right?
I like this.
I'm an idea guy. Let's see where this goes.
All right, let's see what happens.
Okay.
All right, simultaneous orgasms.
MythBusters.
Okay, so talk about pressure, right? If I'm having sex with someone and they're like, are you going to come? Are you coming? Because I'm about to come and I want to come at the same time as you. For me, a lot of people will get in our heads and be like, oh shit, what if I don't do it right now? Like, I'm going to let them down. I'm going to fail. Or like if I do it too soon or too late. So orgasms for most people are a matter of seconds. And for a lot of people, you can have longer orgasms, right? But most people are mostly having orgasms for just a couple seconds. You know, maybe you 5 seconds, maybe 10 if you're lucky. So to match that short period of time with another person who's also quite complicated, likely, not always, in their arousal, in their needs, in all the pieces of how they're engaging and reacting sexually, is a small, teeny little blip in time. But we're trying to put them together perfectly. And some people won't feel that pressure. They won't be like, oh God, if I don't do it in this, like right now. Or also with simultaneous orgasms, right? Like you can, generally speaking, if you're a man having sex with a woman, you get her all aroused. She's about to come. You're saving it for that moment. She's like, I'm coming. And then you have control to release then. Awesome and great. Why is that so important though? That's a good question. I'm serious. Like why does that matter so much for that to be the same time? Like, wow. Have you had, for me personally, I've had those moments and after I was like, I guess that was cool.
Yeah.
We both came same time. High five?
Yeah.
Like what makes it?
We do love feeling aligned to the point where we're like, we were finishing each other's sentences.
Well, that's even cooler. I'd rather do that than have simultaneous orgasms.
Yeah. I'd rather say the same thing at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thought is dudes just gotta be able to hold their own a little longer.
Oh no! So I'm actually arguing against that.
Okay.
I'm actually arguing against simultaneous orgasms needing to be an important thing, because I think a lot of people believe that's the standard of what makes the best sex.
But here's the thing, Amy, about men is
you guys.
you might not know this, but
You guys.
after we blow our load, we fall asleep.
You need a sandwich.
Yeah, we need a sandwich and a sting.
I don't know, Kyle. I've had sex with plenty of men where they did not fall asleep right after.
Okay.
Maybe they were tired, but they're like, I still got a mouth and some hands. Or
Okay.
like, let's get the sex toy out, right?
Okay.
Like they're not like for me, the people. If I have sex with someone and they're instantly like, oh, okay, bye. You know, whether they're leaving.
I just outed myself as an ungenerous lover is what I just did.
But yeah,
Damn it.
you can be tired and still
I mean,
engaged.
we get tired. Okay.
Totally.
Okay.
It's a lot of energy.
So the thought is.
Well, so the thought is, it's not even with what you're speaking to. It's just they don't have to match. But if you're the penis owner, yes, I understand. Also, when you ejaculate, you're refractory. You have a refractory period. Maybe you can't be hard for a while, or maybe a long while. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't come for a while. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you need a sandwich. And this is even more reason why. That if you know that about yourself, then that is your last hurrah for the experience. You're like, I'm out once I do that. Then you're going to hold that to the bitter end, like the bar you go to at 4 a.m. You hold it to that moment so that you can either give or receive or experience all these other things. And sure, if you were like, okay, I want to come now and I'd like for you to come. What I'm speaking to is the pressure that I want you to come at this moment, or I want us to come together, that creates for a lot of people a very heady experience where they can't be in their bodies anymore, and it actually kills a lot of orgasms. A lot of orgasms have died with simultaneous orgasm mentality.
Wow.
It's just, it can be too much for people unless it's really easy for you to come or to understand someone else's body. But it's like, I can't press a button. I wish I could just press my kneecap and just come on Kyle's couch right now. It doesn't work that way.
No, this is great. This is why I have you on the podcast, right? Is because
it worked. I actually did.
and I have been going my entire life thinking that after every dude comes, it's like taking a NyQuil. This
not
crazy soporific.
This
is. You're the database.
But everyone's different. It's funny, or I guess funny. It's odd that. But understandable that we all think our sexual experience is what most people experience. And media portrays it very similar to what most people experience, right? But like a lot of people have some other variation of that. And it doesn't mean like, I'm not saying every dude when they come, they can't be tired and be like, I need some chill time, or like, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you have something in you.
Shane Gillis, the comedian, actually has a fucking great bit on his show Tires. He's working at a mattress store, and a guy says that his mattress isn't working, and he convinces the guy that he's just not coming enough.
Really? I need to watch this.
It's fucking
great. My God. He's the mattress salesman?
Yeah, he's the mattress salesman. He's like, no, bro, the problem that you're having is you're just not beaten off enough before bed.
Oh, my God. That's valid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, the book, She Comes First.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's been on our show a couple times.
Okay. Tell us about this book.
This book. Okay, this book has been out. God, it might be like close to 20 years or so, because it was out before we opened up the sex shop in 2008. Holy shit! Okay, time is flying by. His story. Do you know his story?
Well, this is gonna show you how fucking liberal my mom is. My mom gave me the book.
I love your mom.
Yeah, gave me the book. Yeah, like
awesome.
I think when I was in high school.
Oh, I love that for you.
Yeah.
And I love that for your mom too.
Such a gangster.
She's like, here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your mom's awesome. And
Never read it.
Yeah. Really? What? Are you serious? You're kidding. Okay, so Kyle is pretending like he doesn't remember the whole story. So Ian Kerner, PhD, who wrote the book, he was a early ejaculator, or some people say premature ejaculation. It was hard for him to control his ejaculations, when he was going to come. And there are so many ways to learn how to control your ejaculations. I can see your face right now. You have a joke coming up.
Yeah, well, we gotta rebrand premature for like hasty.
Hasty ejaculator.
Hasty ejaculator.
I like that.
I'm hasty.
Just a little hasty.
It's like a New York minute. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm here on time. I'm here early.
I'm just
I show
hasty.
up.
Yeah.
I'm motivated.
Oh, it's
yeah.
cute. I like that. Oh, just want to
okay.
hug. Yeah. Anyway, so he decided that the goal is in heterosexual relationships is to not worry about his cock. So, and which means he's not having a lot of penetrative sex, at least initially, and he's is geared towards using hands, mouths, and sex toys to make his partner come before he's even inside of her, and then he can come later, even though he knows it sooner than later, for his hasty ejaculations.
Great.
Because for vulva owners or pussy owners or women, they generally take approximately four times as long.
I'm sorry,
I know
but
you
you
don't
just
like it.
can't say vulva owners because it sounds like vulva owners.
Pussy owners.
You can say women.
Pussy owners.
But I'm just thinking of a
Women.
vulva commercial.
It's not sponsored by Volvo.
Okay.
Pussy owners, vulva owners.
Okay.
Vulva is your external
Yeah.
anatomy. I can't take it away, Kyle. It's embedded in me.
Okay, keep going.
And and also, people look at my pussy externally and they're like, "Oh, you're a vagina." I'm like, "It's not a vagina. That's inside, dipshit." I don't say that. That's what I think. Anyways, so he created this this idea, and I think that everyone can learn to last longer, or most people, and also with his whole thing about women generally. I'm saying women for you, taking longer to get blood flow because this is all internal. It's more complicated than your cocks. It's all just like, it's like being thrown downward. And ours is like down and then up for blood flow to get into all the places. And then women are often more complicated emotionally when it comes to sexuality and insecurities. And so it makes sense. Focus on the lady, get her all aroused, give her the orgasms. Then it's your turn.
This may be another myth that we're going to bust.
Yeah.
And busting on myths. That's what your show
Busting a
could be
nut on
called.
myths.
Busting on myths. The myth of penetrative sex orgasms.
Penetrative sex orgasms.
Well, so the myth is most women can only orgasm through penetrative sex.
Oh, yeah. So that's interesting because there's a lot of different myths, right? There's the myth that most women can only orgasm when they have clitoral stimulation, or just from clitoral stimulation. And then there's the myth that women should be able to orgasm from penetrative sex. And I think they're both right and wrong. Oh, sorry, that's not helpful. Because the clitoris it's more than the nub that you see, and for some people it's very much tucked in, but it's it goes back. It has a neck, it has legs. It's a huge structure, and it still is not being studied the way it should.
Right.
But I believe, and a lot of people believe, that it's connected. It continues the tissue and the nerve endings connect even deeper in and on top of and around the vaginal canal. So penetrative sex does still hit clitoral structure, but everyone is different in how they're shaped. So most people need either certain angles or other fingers, mouths, toys, props on the external clitoris to actually lead to orgasm. But here's what makes it more complicated. You have other nerve ending structures there. You have nerve endings around the cervix. You have nerve endings around the G-spot G area that may or may not just be continued clitoral structure. Who knows? Blah, blah, blah. More studying, more money behind this, please. More research. But I think everyone is really different in how they will respond to being touched in certain ways. So I think most women can learn how to get off to stimulation internally and vaginally. They're going to need a lot of other stuff too for that to happen. It's not like, oh, I just learned why your cock just going in and out like I see in porn. There's so much more to it, which generally involves around what did you call the initial state? It's not the teasing state. It's the the before
Anticipation?
the anticipation
Right.
state,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
From that to like when I touch your
Pure
body,
anticipation.
pure anticipation to when I touch your body in ways that aren't even on your genitals. To when I touch your genitals, I'm like going slowly and externally and working my way in. So I think they're both myths. The one you said, and then also the clitoral structure part. I mean, people can learn to have orgasms from a finger in their belly button. Anything's possible.
Goddamn.
I know. Freaks me out. I don't like it, but it's true. Yeah.
Boink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I might throw up when I say that. But
Yeah. Just create a vibrator that like straps around you.
Just
It's
fucking
like
your
a
belly
corset.
button.
It's like a corset.
Gross.
So here's my understanding of this. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of it. That a clitoris is a little penis.
A penis is a bigger clitoris.
Way better phrasing. That was the patriarchy right
Yeah,
there.
there was. Well, also it's just, it makes sense why one would think that.
Right.
It totally makes sense.
Right. But so the understanding is that like for penetrative sex for a lot of women, that is more like someone fondling your balls. Which like it feels good,
No,
but
just touching the shaft.
just touching the
Not
shaft.
the head.
Why don't you just go ahead?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Embryologically.
I'm just gonna put down the microphone.
No, you're doing a good job. I mean, the balls are they're basically ovaries.
Okay.
So embryologically, we all start with the same. We're all the same parts that are organized in different places, but we all start with XX chromosomes.
Mm-hmm.
Chromosomes. I always want to say chromosomes. And then around, I think it's like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks, maybe. Yeah. Some people get a hormonal wash, meaning like a bunch of hormones going through your body that they go from XX to XY, and then there's variations that are intersex folks like XXY, XYY, etc. And so if you become XY, you grow externally. You grow a penis, you grow balls. But if you're XX, then you're growing more internally. So you're, what would be balls are inside ovaries. What is the shaft? The tissue that is the shaft of the penis is the vaginal canal. What is the clitoris? What is the head of the penis is the clitoris or clitoral structure. What is the foreskin is the same as foreskin that is over the clitoris. And so they just get organized in different ways. But technically, we are all starting out with XX chromosomes. So your penis is basically just trying to be as cool as my clit.
All right. But that's also why clitoral stimulation works really well for a lot of women. Right?
So if someone were to just touch your cock but only touch the shaft and ignore the head or anything even below the shaft, would that feel absolutely amazing to you? Maybe it would, but you'd probably be like, come on, go a little upward. Come on.
Right.
And because you're missing a big part of the primary, or when I teach blowjob classes, it's been a while, but I would teach like 75% of your focus is on the head of the cock, but you don't want to put too much on there. Same with the clitoris, because to pussy owners, I would say, like, imagine if someone just sucked your clit the whole time. It would be a lot, right? You have all this other stuff. You want to diversify the touch, but you're putting your primary focus on the areas that have the most nerve endings, which is the head of the cock and the clitoris. And the clitoris, everyone listening to, because I know there's a lot of dudes listening, generally it's more so to the right or left, or like right on top, like upward from the clitoris, as opposed to right on the head. The right on the head stimulation of the clitoris is when people are like, suck my clit now, rub my clit now, put that sex toy on my clit now, as opposed to like right in the beginning when you're like on just right on the head. It's as if someone were to do the same thing to the head of your cock.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as the great Amy Baldwin has said, on your gravestone, I believe this is what will be written.
I hope so.
Go slower than slow, and then slower than that.
Yes, Kyle, you graduated Amy Baldwin school.
did, yeah.
Yeah, you're a graduate now. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
It's
my
working.
God. This was through just doing a quick peruse of the cast, of the Shameless Sex cast, that caught my eye. An episode you did recently called Chasing Trouble.
Ooh, yeah.
Why we fall for the bad boy or the hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right. Why do you think that we do this?
Childhood trauma.
Okay.
Or even if it's not trauma, It's just your experience as a young person, and whether it's your primary caregivers, well, yeah, mostly the people, the adults in your life or lack thereof. And we are often seeking either what we didn't get, or we're trying to find something that we did get and match it in some way, shape. So if you only had chaos, sometimes people they're attracted to chaos. If you didn't have someone at all, like say your dad was very MIA, you may, not everyone, some people come out of that with they're not attracted to the whatever. Well, the hot mess is the lady version, but you're not attracted to the narcissist or whatever, the bad boy. And for a lot of people, they might be as well. And it's like it's like a wounded seeking thing that a lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with it. And I've done it before. I have before. Kyle knows about this with me. And so yeah, it's just old programming. What happens with that is a lot of people, they get stuck in it. Like, I only date assholes. I keep choosing the asshole, and I don't want to date the asshole, but I keep doing it. I can't stop, and I'm not attracted to the nice guy. I'm only attracted to this type of man. And what I would say to them is, childhood trauma, and also, I think people confuse dominance and masculinity with narcissism, or let's get rid of that word because I don't like people think when I say that it means you're just selfish. Narcissism is a specific thing, everyone. Or also just like an overpowering human who is going to try to continue to prove themselves for themselves, but use you and the rest of the world to do that, to make themselves feel better. And they might not even be a narcissist, but that can look like a hot, powerful man. But that's not really exactly what people are attracted to. They're just looking for the strong, almost like father figure, right. or with women, men with women too. There's a similar variation of that.
Yeah. Strength is like a catch-all.
Yeah.
For a lot of different shit that can be super healthy or super unhealthy.
And there's a difference between strength and someone that is strong in themselves and support themselves and supports others with their strength versus strong in themselves and supports themselves and breaks others down with their strength. They're very different things. And just because you're attracted to strong, dominant, masculine men doesn't mean you have to date the latter. But you would need awareness just to understand the difference if you want a change around that. Yeah.
It's hard to dig into that shit. I think for a lot of people, it gets pretty messy to realize you're looking for a dad or a mom.
Looking for a daddy.
Looking at daddy issues, right?
But the cool thing about it, Kyle, is that if you're a kinky person, you can get into the kink world where, if you're someone like, I'm looking for a daddy, you can have a daddy. He's not going to be your dad. He's going to be the dominant masculine person. And a good daddy in the kink or sex world is someone who is that strong masculine who knows how to take care of themselves and takes care of you, but also can, tie you up and tell you what to do with consent, of course. There's sexuality can be a really healing place for those things.
Yeah, you don't want the guy who's like tying up your finances.
No,
you want them to tie you up, and I think that's important, right? To be able to delineate. I've had Jim Fadiman on the pod, who he wrote Our Symphony of Selves, which is a great book, which argues that you're not one unified self. You're this confluence of influences. And the people who are most successful in life are able to bring forward the type of self that is most appropriate for that type of situation.
Yeah.
And a lot of success is predicated upon being able to bring that part of your personality forward in the correct situation, right?
Yeah.
You want to be, if you're a CEO, you need to bring that energy to work. You don't want to have to bring it home.
Yeah.
And all, it's like football players, right? Like be football player on the field, not off the field.
I hope they're not always trying to live that everywhere. They survive. They would die at age 25. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them do.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah,
right. Yeah, but it's figuring out how to let out those different parts of your personality in different areas, and one can be through kink versus looking for that person and who is that person all the time, right? And it just fucks up your life.
Or if we take kink out of the picture, because for some people listening, that might not be their jam or approachable. So let's take the strong, dominant, but not kinky dominant man who's strong in taking care of himself and can take care of his woman. I'm gonna use woman for y'all. And like a picture of what that could, or an image of what that could look like in sex without it being kinky, is just like, hey babe, like what are you wanting tonight? Because I just want to give all of that to you. Right? Like something like that, because he's so confident in himself that he can do that, and he's not like, oh no, like what to do. He doesn't give a fuck what society says about like you're not man enough because you're like worshiping a pussy, or you should make it more about your cock, or any of that stuff. Like it doesn't have to be a kinky variation of that, and nor do you have to be this person that I'm talking about. That's just like if that's your jam, or if you're someone who's attracted to those people, there's just strength and dominance do not have to come with conquering and harming, unless that's your kink.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that the first 30-something years of your life are about figuring out what you like. Totally. And then the rest of it's about how to engineer a life that brings you all of that. And it's not just, for most people, it's not just one thing. Yeah. It can take a real diversity of needs to be met, and that's hard. Yeah. It takes work. Yeah. But the more you are working on that stuff and realizing like, oh, this is what I like, whether it be from sex to exercise or anything, the happier you'll be.
I was walking in Arana Gulch. It's in Santa Cruz, walking my dog 2 days ago, and there was another man there, or not another man, a man, because I'm not a man, but there was a man walking his dog. And I walked by and I was like, hi, just saying hi, and he was like, hi, I know you. And I was like, you do? But I'm so bad with faces and names. Mm-hmm. My memory, just if I meet you and forget you, don't take it personally. And he's like, oh yeah, I listen to your podcast, but I met you a couple of times, but I want to let you know your podcast saved my life. And I was like, dang, that's
leave a Yelp review, dog.
Yeah, so do you have Yelp? Or
if you mind, just like it takes like 30 seconds, just like real quick, like it's right. Just you'll see this one saved my
also
marriage.
We got Google.
Right?
I need a Google review too. Yeah. Also, can you just do a testimony on my website? Yeah. But I was like, okay, and then I get a little nervous, like, oh my god. And so the short version is, he said he's someone who's probably in his 40s, I assume, maybe late 40s. He was married for 25 years, kind of like first sexual or partner sexual experience thing. That disconnected relationship. Mm-hmm. Didn't really know that there was. He could feel in his body that he wanted more, but it wasn't available in the relationship. It was very much like, this is just how sex is. We have it once a month. It's just kind of like this, or whatever he was doing. And apparently our podcast inspired him to leave the marriage. And that's not what we do, everyone. Sometimes that's the answer, but we don't say leave the marriage.
You're still zeroed out because you saved one marriage and you lost another.
Lost the other one. But he's like, but I finally was able to leave, and now I'm in this beautiful partnership that I can fully be myself, and we're constantly learning and trying different things. And that doesn't mean they're constantly like doing crazy ass shit. Everyone like trying different things is like, today I'd like you to just pet my head, like just things outside of like, okay, well, we have 3 minutes, stick it on in, and that's just so special to hear. And also in my mind, I'm like, so common. So common. Not that like you saved my life or that perspective, but just that experience is so common. Again, why I have a job. So yeah, very much what it's about. Just that scenario, or just helping people to see that if you feel like something's missing or there's more, or you're stuck, then there are other things that are available there, and they are accessible to you in some way, shape, or form.
Right. Yeah, and you can try stuff, and it can ultimately lead to you can try small stuff that leads to really big changes.
Totally.
I feel like you could write like maybe that was your book, but like the atomic habits of sex, like how little
small
how little kinks can lead to big changes.
Baby steps. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge part of it. Or in the world of orgasm, people who have a hard time having orgasms, the gold, well, there's so many things. One is because they're mostly in their heads, but is to notice the little tiny subtle sensations and just focus on those, as opposed like, where's the big thing? Where's the big thing? And I think that is a good example of sex in general. Just focusing on either trying or feeling or doing the little tiny things. And there's often really big stuff right around the corner. But if you're focused on the big things that aren't even here, it's like, I'm looking for a dragon, but there's no dragon here. So it's just focus on what is actually available and going from there.
What's something you've changed your mind about?
With sex? Or in general?
I'm gonna leave it open to generally. Because I think that it's I'll leave it there and then I'll expound.
I've changed my mind about. Okay, my brain is like I'm like searching through the sex archives. Something that I've changed my mind about that I believed and that shifted. Let's see. One thing that stands out to me, it would be. Let's see. How do I word this in a way that's not tricky? Let's see. So, earlier when I was talking about not everyone wants the long, like many-hour sex sessions, and the argument against that I think is true is if you. So let's use an example of a woman who has only had some clitoral orgasms, and they are only like 5 seconds long, and so for her it's like we have sex and I get one of those or two of those, I'm good. And if that same woman experienced a deeply connected, because that's usually what's required for cervical orgasms, where it's that like witchy, I don't know if it's in multiple orgasms or one long one, and it feels like it can go on forever. I've had these before. I don't know exactly how to replicate them because it's so based on other things beyond sex or even the partner. And so the thing that has changed my mind is like, well, okay, so if I knew
it's based on Sting.
Sting inspired. Thank you, Sting. Sting taught me about my cervix.
Oddly, every woman I've talked to who orgasms for hours was listening to Sting.
He has a master class on how to make women come for hours.
While eating a sandwich.
While eating a pastrami sandwich. So one thing that I'm like, okay, well, this kind of fucks with my mind. If every woman knew that every time she had sex, she could have that orgasm. Would she be like, well, fuck yeah, I only want long sex sessions then, because if I have a long sex session, I'm just orgasming the entire time and I feel like I'm on another planet. Then I'm like, okay, yes. So then that goes against the argument of the long sex session thing. And I still think that it's too much pressure and it's so for most people emotion based, connection, relaxation, how are your hormones, how much sleep did you have, how's your all these things to go into that place with people, that to say like that's what you should strive for is too much pressure.
Sure.
And will let people down and they will feel broken. But so when I said the long sex session thing, I would say if we could all have that whenever we wanted, fuck yeah, fuck me for 7 hours.
Sure.
Every day, all the time.
For the hasty ejaculators out there. So let's get more into this, because I do think that there's a lot of guys listening to this podcast, and I think that one of the huge points of shame is hasty ejaculation.
Totally. Yeah.
So
I love this term.
I
really do.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, right?
It's good.
It makes it playful.
It is. It should be.
Premature. I mean, because premature is
it shouldn't have happened.
It has a connotation that you're not a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's
you're a child.
Our biggest fucking fear is to be considered not men.
Yeah, that's what we use, like ejaculatory control. Like
totally.
Yeah, but I like hasty. That's just fun.
Yeah.
I'm a hasty ejaculator.
So what? Yeah. How would you talk to these dudes? The hasties.
The hasties. is it like a what is it?
Yeah,
Taylor, a Swiftie, but it's a
club,
Hasty.
yeah.
the Hasties. The Hasties. I want a whole cult. I want an Amy Baldwin cult that's
Fuck,
Hasties.
Fucking so funny.
Everyone listening, will you be part of my cult, the Hasties?
Oh my god, I'm a hasty.
I'm a Hasty.
Oh my god, the people are gonna put banners out front.
Out and proud Hasty.
Yeah.
You come to my live shows, and you're like, I'm a
my
Hasty too.
God.
Ride or die. So I've worked with a lot of those people. I've dated people. When I say those people, sorry, people who are hasty ejaculators, and it's more common.
We can call them hasties now.
And it's more common than it's not common. By the way,
Sure.
like and just saying, just the feeling of it's hard for me to control when I come is way more common than I know how to control when I come, which. I think everyone should know so that they're like, oh yeah, I'm normal. Like if you're the one of those people like, oh, I got this dialed in. You're not the normal one. You're awesome, but you're not the normal one.
My theory is that Sting is secretly a hasty.
He's a haster.
And he's got a big PR campaign around him.
Yeah.
Totally.
Or he's one of those people that when he comes, his refractory period is very short. He can get rock hard again. Maybe he has sponsored by Cialis or something. And he just like can keep on going over and over again.
Oh, the hasties. I'm so happy we found this.
Me too.
Oh, we were digging for a little while.
Can I use it on my podcast?
Absolutely.
I'll be
Absolutely.
like, this is not mine. It's Kyle Thiermann's because I always give credit.
This is so wonderful that we came across this.
So for all the hasties
I knew
out
we
there,
would. This is why I podcast with you. But
for hasty.
fucking straight up, this is why I still do it and love
So
doing
we create
it.
weird shit together.
We just dig and dig and dig. It's so much joy.
It is.
So much deep joy is given to me when we come across something like this.
It has been since day one when you were a podcaster before I was, and then like we got together. Like this is working out really well.
It's so fun. It's so fucking fun.
Yeah, that was super.
God.
Awesome. All right, hasties.
Okay.
So
let's talk to the hasties out there.
So
we're building a movement.
I think most people that are hasty because. Bear with me. They're hasty because of just what you're used to in your practices. So from when you started masturbating, there is a big chance that you either had to go really fast and hard and very quickly because someone's going to walk in, or you didn't have private space, or you're just in the shower and you don't want to waste the water because you live in Santa Cruz and you're like, whatever. So that's one example. Or the sex, when you started having sex with people, that you were very excited in the initial phases of having sex with someone else, whether it's blowjobs or you're cocking something or whatever, a hand on you. Your first experiences were, this is so exciting, and then you come really quickly, and then your mind, body, spirit thinks that's the default, and you're stuck in it. And so it's a heady process. It's not like my cock's broken. It's generally like your brain has been programmed either by you programming it with your masturbation practices or your experiences.
Wow. Yeah.
And you can unprogram it.
Damn. Yeah, it's like an old, outdated iOS system.
It is. You delete, new download.
Yeah. We got to update to Maverick.
MacBook.
Big
Yeah,
Sur.
Maverick. Yeah, the Big Sur.
Yeah. You're still, yeah.
We're no more Yosemite.
We're
done with
you're
Yosemite.
still in Yosemite? Yeah. No, we're on Big Sur now.
You're still Yosemite, bro?
Yeah.
You must be a hasty.
Okay.
So you reprogram that in the homework, which is hard to do if you're partnered and especially living with a partner, because the homework is a solo practice. It's to masturbate on your own, but what do you do, Kyle?
Slower than slow, and then slower than that.
He's such a good student.
Great.
Kyle's not hasty. So on your own, you start to touch yourself in an entirely different way. So say you were like, I want to learn to last 20 minutes. Then the way you're touching yourself, the way you're masturbating, is to drag it out for 20 minutes. It might seem boring. You might hate it.
Yeah.
You're going to hate it at first probably if you're used to that like 1 minute thing.
Yeah, it's zone 2 training.
Yeah, exactly. And then
going on a light jog.
And we're going to put weights on you
totally,
too.
Yeah. You're improving your VO2 max right here.
Yeah, we're going to put you in a hot yoga room at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I hate this.
I only jerk off while on a light jog. going for 10 miles.
That's talent. That's talent right there. Some people would actually some people just have orgasms from going for that jog because the cock's rubbing on their legs. That's cool. Anyways, so you do your homework. It might take you days, weeks, months. It depends on how much time you dedicate to it. But so if you can do this every night for 2 weeks, and you set your timer and your whatever, say it's 20 minutes.
Right.
And then you make sure whatever you're doing, it feels somewhat similar to whatever you're having sex with or whomever. Sorry, whatever. So like, how can you make your hand feel like the pussy that you have sex with the lube you're using, with the grip too? Like, be realistic about that grip, y'all. If you're doing death grip with your hand, your cock's going to think that you need a death grip when you have sex with a pussy.
Wow.
They all kind of match up.
Sure.
So you're reprogramming, and then when you go and have sex with someone else, first of all, I would suggest let that person know. If it's casual sex for one night, maybe don't be like, I've been working on my hastiness. But if it's someone that you feel comfortable with, I would suggest, so you could take the elephant out of the room. Like, I've been working on lasting longer. Most women would be like, fuck yeah, that's hot. Good for you. And here's what I know. I know that, like, if I start to get really excited, I need to slow down. And it's not personal. That's just what I need to do. Like, be fucking realistic. And then go from there. And if they shame you and they're like, oh my God, then don't have sex with that person. But because ultimately you're sharing, this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I need. And also ask them, what about you? Women love hearing that. And I know we talked about the like, oh, what do you want? And sometimes they're like, oh my God. But if you share something like, here's what works for me when I'm engaging sexually. If I get really excited, I need to slow down. And it's not personal. Doesn't mean I'm not attracted to you. What about you? Like, what do you know about yourself that works or doesn't work? I'd prefer hearing, or ask that, as opposed to just tell me what you want. Like, what, and this is, again, credit Dan Savage. He says the gay community is so good about this. Tell me what you like, what works and what doesn't. Straight people suck at this conversation and could get so much better at it. It's not that hard. They just don't want to hear or say, right? It's scary. You don't have to share your whole world, right? You could be like, I know I don't like, or this is what I would say. I know I don't like when you just put your mouth on my pussy without hands first. I know what I like is when your mouth is on my pussy. I also want your hands rubbing my outer labia. Like, it's just as simple as that. It's not guaranteed orgasm. It's like, here's some little stepping stones to what could be bigger.
Okay, great. So with this
Hasty.
zone 2 training for the hasties,
The hasty.
the hasties are getting fit this year. It's 2025. Yeah.
What's next level though when you're not hasty anymore? I'm leaving that one to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe next episode.
Punctual.
Yeah. Well practiced.
Yeah. So okay. So I mean, this is interesting, and it makes a lot of sense that I think most dudes are jerking off really fast.
Yeah.
Like, to de-stress.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Fuck, this has been a stressful day. I'm gonna jerk off real
Or
fast.
like before the day, like, gotta get ready for the day.
Sure, whatever. But it's a fast thing, so of course that could lead to hastier.
And that's not guaranteed to be a problem.
Right.
It's that, like, if that's all you're doing and you're not able to control your hastiness, then look at that.
Right.
And
That's
diversify
for sure.
it. And maybe take a break, right? Or like, let's switch it around. Like, so women who can only orgasm from a vibrator, their homework is quite similar. It's take a break from the vibrator. No, the vibrator didn't ruin you. It didn't change your clit. Your brain is just stuck on this thing. And you don't have to change that because orgasms are orgasms. But if you want to, take a break or put the vibrator in a lower speed. You're not going to come right away. It's going to drive you nuts. Or practice using your hand. And don't be set on it giving you the same results right away. It's going to take time and it'll drive you nuts. Most people just bypass it. They're like, fuck this. I'm going back to the vibrator. I'm going back to hard with on my cock. But if you really want to learn how to have more control over that, including it's more control over, it's just when you come, right? So that includes, I want to come now, like sooner, or I want to come later.
Right.
And that applies to all bits.
And how about the, I mean, it's sort of an exercise in desensitizing.
Yeah.
Right. Or resensitizing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, applicable for all forms of sensory, and we're an oversensitized people.
Totally.
With social media, with context shifting, Slack pings, email. Like, we are trained We're being trained to be hasty.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, time is limited. It's precious, and and also with sex, it comes with the other thing of like it's private. You don't want people to know, so that's why it's often rushed if there's other people that might pick up on the fact that you're masturbating or something. So people are super hasty often.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you also recommend for guys to maybe not watch porn while they're doing this?
That just depends.
Well, and also, two-part question, jerking off without coming. Like if the guys are looking to not come during sex and hold that in,
then
there's like the school of thought for guys as they age is to be coming less so they can hold that energy in.
Totally.
What are your thoughts on this?
Exhausting. So I think that is a tricky one because yes, as you age, your refractory period gets longer. Your erections are not as hard. When you ejaculate, you are more and more tired as you get older and have less energy. And so to learn how to last longer and not come. Sure, that's great and helpful. And also, I think the ultimate goal would be to learn how to have orgasms without ejaculating, though.
Sure.
Which is a whole complicated art that is doable. Because all men are all penis owners, right? But men, they were able to do that at one point, or able to orgasm without ejaculating because you actually physically couldn't ejaculate.
You
when
told
you were
me
younger.
this on our first podcast, and it stuck with me.
Yeah, so
You're
you have
like,
the
do you
ability.
remember orgasming when you were a kid without ejaculating?
Nothing came out, but you still felt that
when you're like
"Whoa."
7, you can do that shit.
Yeah, and then they went hand in hand when your body could ejaculate, and
so
so
crazy.
you can learn to undo that. But it is a very
and I would imagine, is this the same for girls?
Most women can do that, and it's much less complicated because we don't get the exhaustion if we squirt, right? Or when we have an orgasm, and if some fluid comes out, whether you think squirt is real or not, everyone, it's pretty real if you talk to people who squirt. Most women don't feel the exhaustion. They're not like, it's not like, oh yes, the sandwich.
So do you know about, and this is getting into like such sketchy territory right now, but we're going to do it like how young boys can orgasm and how young girls can orgasm.
So I have heard and not looked deeply into, but heard that there is evidence or research studies about fetuses fetuses being able to like have genital contractions. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a researcher, but I've heard that it can potentially happen in that way. And
that's a real tricky one for the pro-life movement.
Yeah.
Because they're like, don't
damn
masturbate, but save the baby. It's a fetus that's masturbating.
Yeah, or maybe that will give them more like, see, here's why we have to save the baby because they can masturbate.
Yeah. But then once you come out, don't masturbate.
But I don't know if this is 100% true, but there's a lot of people who have these like very, very young memories. They're like, I remember when I was 2.5 and, you're 2.5, you're not sliding down the pole. That's more like you're a little older with that one. But that's a lot of people's first orgasms, sliding down the pole at school.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super common. Yeah, but I didn't experience that. I'm so jealous of that. But yeah, just like a little. But again, not when you were 2.5. But you're 6 and you're on the playground. Sure. You slide down. You're like, oh, that felt good. I'm gonna do it again. And then you're like over and over. If you ever see a kid doing that, you're like, you're good for you, child.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just
kids
like
are just lined up down the pole.
Yeah.
Wow,
or some kids will figure out like, we're sitting on this couch right now. Maybe not your couch because it doesn't have the soft parts for your arms, but they'll figure out that if they just kind of grind a little bit on it, that they can have orgasms, so that's an example of programming, though, that can stick with you when you're older, and you're like, I can only have orgasms when I'm in a grinding motion. And then I would, if I was your coach, I'd be like, well, tell me about your first orgasms. Well, I got that from sliding down the pole or grinding on the couch. And so I'd say either, do you want to change that? Here's options on how you can learn to have orgasms other ways that takes time and work. Or how can you reenact that in your sex? How can you make the sex that you're having with whomever you're having sex with similar to that grindy thing with the couch or the pole?
And then changing that would be a matter of repetitive habits.
Similar to the
kind of-
masturbation practice I was
Right.
talking about. And another thing that's important with that one is getting really curious and touching yourself in ways that you wouldn't even think would be erotic. Like I'm going to take my hand and just like, I don't know, start to like massage and knead all around my pussy and then make my way in a way that you never see in porn to see where and what feels good. And then you can discover so much more. Like, oh, it's so interesting when I have someone when I pinch at my outer labia, it feels really relaxing, but that's not how I orgasm, but it helps me to relax so I can go into orgasm state when I touch other ways. Like it's just, it's almost like dancing, ecstatic dance.
Yeah.
It's like an ecstatic dance with yourself, but
Yeah.
masturbating.
This is so fascinating. Do you do this, or do you recommend journaling after sex? Because here's another, I don't know what it might be. Is it just the oxytocin dump? But like memory of sex?
Yeah. Orgasm will do that.
Yeah.
Wow. What
It's
happened?
like it's like the Matrix thing. You just stare right at this.
You're like,
Zoom. Yeah.
Oh,
I have no recollection of
See
what just
stars.
happened. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But for real, I wonder if that level of reflection is needed to upregulate your iOS system.
So it will, especially speaking to the hasties, right? If you are doing that homework where you're doing that every day, unless you have a fantastic memory, or like you're able to retain that after you actually do have an orgasm, then maybe you don't need to journal. But also, I think journaling can help with like what did I eat today? How much sleep did I have last night? What was the lighting like? What's my mood like? What was my relationship with my partner? Or like what stressful things happened today or lack thereof? And then what happened with my body and all those things. And then you can look at it later and put them together to see the common threads of what works and what doesn't. So
Sure.
Totally.
Sure.
Unless it's going to take you out of the that was amazing, but I'm going to journal right now.
Yeah. Just wait a second.
Yeah. Give it some time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of science behind how journaling is a primary mechanism in building new neural networks.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's not just about doing the thing. Did a podcast with Rick Hanson about this. He wrote Hardwiring Happiness, and he talks about how if you want to build a new habit, do the thing or improve more quickly at something. He's a rock climber.
Yeah.
He used this example. He's like, if you have a great rock climbing session, you get down from the cliff, take 5 minutes and meditate about what you just did and all the good feelings that just came.
So not write it down or just meditate?
Just meditate, but journaling
but like
also.
take it all in.
Journaling is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
Right? It's a reflection on a singular experience that helps carve these new neural networks.
Yeah.
That's super potent.
It's like take time to let it land as opposed to just moving on to the next thing in life. That makes perfect sense.
Best big wave surfer in the world, Kyle Lenny, told me after his big wave sessions, he journals.
Yeah?
Yeah. What did I do well? What did I do differently?
Yeah.
Kid
That makes so much sense,
progresses
though.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like Dear Diary. It's just, it can be, I think with journaling for a lot of people, it can be stressful because you feel like you need to put in whatever Kyle wrote here with his morning pages.
Sex is like dancing.
Yeah. You don't have to do it the way Kyle is. You just be like, touch cock. Touch with a 3 out of a 5 for X amount of time with this much lube and 8 sandwich today. Too much pastrami. Next time, no pastrami.
Next time, no pastrami.
Yeah.
I see a Shameless Sex journal in your future.
With prompts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the capitalist.
I like this.
Yeah.
You should be
In your
my
corner.
my inner capitalist.
I'm your inner capitalist.
I work with April. She's a pretty good capitalist, but
She
I'll
is.
take more.
Yeah. Yeah. April's got your back.
April's my capitalist guru.
Yeah. Oh, this is so fun.
Yeah,
is there
super
anything
fun.
else that you want to touch on before we?
I don't think so. I don't know when this is going on the air. With Shameless Sex, we are a podcast that is free, and we are on all of the apps. We have released a weekly episode since 2017, since June. So like Kyle said, over 400. Kyle started his podcast a year before me and was my podcast guru. I was like, Kyle, I need some equipment. What should I get?
Yeah. Then you blew right past me.
Sex,
Damn
bro.
it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And you're so good at it.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you.
earnestly, you are. I remember having you on that first episode and being blown away by how talented you were.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're just continuing to get better, and it's one of, I love it when people use something that they're naturally good at and really lean into it.
Well, and for me also, I, owned a sex shop, sold sex toys. I've represented sex toy brands and done like the sales thing, and I do a lot of education with that, and I teach sex ed workshops. And when I started podcasting, I was like, oh, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. I as you can tell, everyone, I like to talk. I lose my voice many times a year because of it. Uberlube, though, can be helpful for that.
What?
Uberlube.
What?
Did you ever lose your voice?
Yeah.
Oh, I put some in your mouth. It coats your throat. Buys you 5 minutes. It
up.
buys you 5 minutes of talking.
Are you sure that's for talking?
Well, it's mostly for sex.
That you're Uberlubing your throat?
April and I do it. Sometimes we lose our voice after a trade show. We're just
Wow.
like recording a podcast while putting Uberlube in our mouth.
Chamomile tea, Uberlube,
Yeah.
whatever you need.
It's mostly for sex, not for eating. But anyways, but
That's
podcasting,
crazy. That's really funny.
it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, podcasting.
Taylor
I was
Swift
like, my
uses
thing.
Uberlube
Yeah.
before her concerts, actually.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I bet so many famous people use Uberlube because they're smart. That's why.
That's really funny.
It's the best.
Wow.
Oh, also another use, but Uberlube does not stand by this, everyone. This is my own discovery. Acid reflux.
Wow.
When you get the spices and you just put some Uberlube there, it coats it like milk.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's lube.
Okay.
Again, mostly for sex, not designed to be eaten, but if you eat it, it has
Yeah,
no flavor, no
now
scent.
you're gonna start seeing it in people's like cabinets,
Yeah.
right next to their athletic greens
Yeah,
and stuff. Uberlube, athletic greens.
This is part of my daily regimen. In
Yeah.
my morning pages,
Yeah.
I always have Uberlube.
I drink my mud water
Yeah.
and then I coat my throat with Uberlube.
Kyle
and I'm
takes a
ready
shot
for
of
the
Uberlube
day.
before he does his journal in the morning.
Fuck, Amy, it's so fun sitting down with you again. It's simply the best.
I mean, we got Hasties now. I'm glad we created something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, got some use out of it.
Yeah.
So Shameless Sex,
Yep.
anywhere and everywhere.
Anywhere and everywhere. Go find it. We have our retreats. We have our book. Get the book. The book is I think we talked about it last time in Kyle's show, but it is our beautiful baby project that is designed to help you become the lover or sexual being that you uniquely are. So like maybe you're like, maybe should I go to a sex coach or therapist? Maybe you should. That will be the answer in the book many times. And also maybe you can navigate this book, read this book to be that for yourself
Cool.
without having to do that.
And where can people find out about future retreats?
Shamelesssex.com.
Cool.
It's quite easy.
Easy. Okay. Do you have any coming up?
Yep. In early May, we're doing the one for everyone. So couples, individuals, men, women, penis owners, pussy
Whatever.
owners, butthole owners. Yeah, you know what? That's what it should be.
Yeah.
For all butthole
Yeah,
owners.
for all butthole. For anyone with a butthole.
Yeah. Seriously, though.
Yeah. That's
We
great.
figured it out, everyone. Hasties and buttholes.
Yeah, the most inclusive way to phrase this.
It's the new terminology in the sex positive movement.
Great. And that's in California?
Yeah, in Indio.
Fun.
Yep.
Super fun.
Yes, yeah, we're super excited. So we're doing 2 a year. That one's in California. Our next one will be fall, probably in like Costa Rica or Mexico again. So
All right.
yeah,
Keep getting people divorced. And keep
or staying
keeping them married.
or staying married.
Yeah, doing it all. All right. Appreciate you so much, Amy Baldwin.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Kyle.
much. Bye.